if you were recommending a relative newcomer to the joys of Burgundy, without making too many mistakes and costing too much money, what would you recommend as an approach to a wine list or being in a shop?
Well, how about approach it slightly differently? And I think in many of these scenarios, if you're in a half decent wine shop or in a restaurant scenario, I would try and make an ally of whoever you're talking to, be it a sommelier or a sales assistant or what have you. 9 times out of 10, these people are in those positions because they are passionate about wine. They're interested to talk about it and share discoveries. And I would guess that an awful lot of their time, they're dealing with customers who perhaps aren't as engaged and maybe don't really want to go down that route with them. So if they have somebody who's showing interest, I think you'll really benefit from it. So ask advice.
But I think that's a very good call. In fact, when I'm in restaurants and I don't know a list at all well, I basically choose a region I fancy and set the sommelier a price and say, please do your best. And I've had amazing results using that methodology.
Yeah, if these people are worth their salt, then they should, I think, respond really well to that sort of question, because that's why they're there. That's what they're theoretically passionate about, and they don't really want to be there just selling, envy champagne or generic Chablis to table after table after table, which may be what a lot of people want to order. So if somebody shows some interest and asks a question, I think they'll be overjoyed and really happy to help, and you'll be the beneficiary of that. But more to your question, it's very difficult, especially with Burgundy, especially with the prices. It's a tricky nut to crack from a standing start. I think, we drank the other night tasting that Bourgogne Côte d'Or from Bachelet Monod, and that was a lovely sort of gateway wine into white Burgundy. I think it's classy above its station. They're using fruit from around Polini to make effectively generic Bourgogne Chardonnay. It punches several times above that, and it gives a very good approximation of why people are interested in this wine category, why people fall down the rabbit hole of white Burgundy. Drinking one of those, you could go and do a lot worse.
And here you are. I kept a sample bottle behind because it was so good, and I think this we sell this for £30 a bottle, and I think it easily performs at certainly of many examples at twice that price.
Well, it is nearly 11:15 in the morning, Miles, so why not?
The cork's still in.
Yeah. So I suppose beyond that, actually the village level of Burgundy offers quite a lot of value. And I think as the Burgundy market has evolved and people have gone sort of gaga for the top wines, there's a lot of people that's sort of forgotten about village level Nuit Saint-Georges, Gevrey-Chambertin, and perversely, they can actually offer really good value. So it's worth having a look at those. And I suppose the further you fall down, this is the sort of advice I can't really give with any credibility, because at the end of the day, we both work for a wine merchant and we're in the business of selling wine. But I look back at my experience of buying Burgundy, building up a bit of a cellar, and I think actually once you get into it, stretching yourself each year when you're making those purchases, going a little bit further than you might have thought you would at first, that's paid dividends, because just having these wines in the cellar is a fantastic thing to have. There's a lot of wine I've got now that I could probably not afford to start buying if I was starting out today. And so once you're on that hamster wheel, I've been guilty of letting it run away with me a little bit, but I'm very happy with the results.